This is the Haibike XDURO AMT RX. It's a step below the AMT Pro. It costs quite a bit less. This one's $5,500, which still, pricey, but you're getting an amazing bike here. There's so much to say about it, and I've learned a lot about these since, I guess, reviewing the others. I actually bought the FS 27.5 in early, 2014. To try to get a feel for the Bosch system. Was one of the first to arrive in America, and Haibike has just such an extensive line, and it feels like there's just incremental differences between each bike. There's a lot to choose from, and this one's definitely grown on me, in part because of course it's full suspension and I have kind of a stiff neck, stiff back, and it's great to be able to smooth out the ride. The fork here is a Fox Evolution series. It's got CTD, which stands for climb, trail, descend. So if you click it down like this, that's climb, so it's the stiffest. It's kind of like locking it out. Trail, it's medium, you get a little bit of play, and then descend, you get a lot more cushion, right? And that's the same for the middle one here, this rear shock. It's Fox Float. Again, CTD, and it's got the little lever there. You can kind of switch around. The front also has sort of a rebound. You can see right there on the left, so you can pop that up or down and kind of adjust it. The travel is 120 to 150. You can actually, you can change that a little bit if you want to, and then 150 millimeters in the rear. So you've got lots of travel to work with. And the next thing to kind of think about as far as travel in a rear suspension bike is how's that going to affect the chain, right? And they've really thought through that. They've got this little extra gear here. It's called a Sprocket Equalizing system. And so it helps to obviously elevate the chain a little bit, but it also reduces kickback. So, if the rear suspension arm is going up and down and the chain would be basically changing position here with regard to the front sprocket, which by the way is an 18 tooth. You can see the little 18T there. Bosch has 3 of these different sprocket sizes, 18, 19, and 20, and they've used the smallest on the XDURO AMT RX because it's going to help you climb the best, right? So a smaller gear on the front with fewer teeth makes it easier to climb, and there's sort of about a 2-to-1 ratio here. So every one time that your crank goes around, the sprocket spins twice, okay, because it's so small. So there's actually some gearing and everything in that center drive system. And by spinning faster, I think it's able to leverage a higher speed output from the motor, which is more efficient for climbing and for giving you power. So that's one of the things I've always noticed about the Bosch system. It's got the smaller sprockets in the front, and I wanted to go into that. It's got also kind of a little guide, this metal guide here that keeps the chain on track, and it's got the narrow wide teeth as well. So every other tooth, it goes from narrow wide, and that helps to keep the train on track so you don't have slipping. So just really excellent job with that stuff. On the rear, we have the Shimano Diore XT derailleur, 10 sprockets, and it looks like that one's actually 11 teeth on the smallest and 36 teeth on the largest. So you've got a really great range here for climbing. Of course, the larger ring, that's going to be your easier gears for climbing up steep terrain, and I've never had a problem with this bike. I've been in situations where the tire felt like it was like losing traction. It wasn't giving out in terms of the motor not having enough power. This is a very capable motor. It's 350 watt center drive system, and that's just the kind of the nominal output. I think it goes up beyond 500 watts. It's I think 60 newton meters of torque, so you get plenty of power in my experience, and really fun to ride. Pretty quiet, very responsive, because this thing's measuring three different facets of your ride. So measuring your wheel speed. You can see the traditional bike sensor back there with a magnet. It's also measuring your cadence, so how quickly you're spinning, and your torque, so how hard you're pushing down as you go. And it's measuring all of those like 1,000 times per second. Just be very, very smooth and quick to kind of respond to you. There's no throttle on this bike. It's all pedal assist, and that helps to extend the range a little bit better. And one of the other neat things it has is it's got shift detection. So when you shift gears in the back, you can imagine, this derailleur is moving, and if this chain is still pulling really fast, it can kind of mash the gears, and you can have trouble that way and hear kind of banging and stuff. It's not real good for it. So the motor has shift detection. It sort of like lets up a little bit as it's sensing you shift. And that's great because it saves your chain. It saves wear on that rear cassette, which is, again, pretty high quality components there. While we're looking at the wheels, let's see here. We've got that DT Swiss wheel set, 27.5. So this is kind of the 650B. It's a step larger than 26-inch, which tends to be used these days on like downhill bikes. You know, the smaller wheel, there's more room to travel. It's also really nimble and light. But then there's 29ers. They're bigger, and those are kind of for, I guess, like cross country and stuff. And it elevates the frame a little bit. So if you're a really big person, maybe getting a 29er would be good. But I like 26 because, you know, the wheel isn't so big that I'm going to clip my toe while I'm riding around. And I still feel like it's pretty maneuverable, which is nice. So the Hans Dampf tires here, 27.5 by, I believe, 2.25. Let's see, yep, 2.25. So knobby, good-looking tires here. It's good stuff that way. Very efficient. I like that both wheels have quick release. You can see it here on the front, and you can see it here on the rear. And this is 12 millimeter, I guess, Maxell style through axle. It's not actually a RockShox design, but it's got that really cool, like basically the axle screws into this side of the frame. So you're not like clamping down and squeezing like that. You're actually screwing into the frame. It's just really stiff, really sturdy, and basically you do a quick release here and then you unscrew from that, and then same on the front. You can see this one's actually 15 millimeter through axle, so just really burly, bigger, stiffer, better performance. The disc brakes are also pretty impressive. We got 203 millimeter on the front, 180 millimeter on the rear. They're both using these Shimano M615 levers, just super tiny. You can activate those with just a couple fingers, and it gives you plenty of stopping power, and it keeps these, of course, cleaner than like a rim brake or something if you're going off-road. So just exactly what you'd want for off-road riding. And again, this one being kind of like AMT all mountain, you know, it's, I guess I'm not an expert on, you know, full off-road bikes and stuff, but I've tried some of the sort of downhill style bikes with the smaller wheels, and it seems like the rake, on some of them it's actually adjustable, but on this one it's just got a tapered head tube. It's a pretty good sort of geometry for cruising on trails, doing some off-road riding and trail mountain. It's capable of everything, and so in my mind that's kind of what the all mountain is about. But again, I'm not a super expert on that. I apologize for that. We've got some nice routing here. Cables go through the frame beautifully. Got this cool sort of brushed aluminum look. And there are 4 frame sizes on this bike, which is great. So I'm actually looking here at the 48 centimeter. It's about 19 inches, but they have a couple others. They have 40 centimeter, 44, 48, and then 52. So 4 sizes. You can really dial this in for a good fit and enjoy your ride. It's very capable in terms of the distance that you can travel, upwards of 60 miles on the lowest level of assist with just this one battery pack here. This is the Bosch Power Pack 400. It's actually a 36 volt, 11 amp hour pack, so it's like 396, so it's almost 400 watt hours. It's got a little battery indicator on the side, and you can use that whether it's on or off the bike. Give it a quick test. You can charge it on or off the bike. There's a little sort of slot there. The battery pack itself only weighs about 5.5 pounds, so if you did want to bring a second one in a pack or something, you totally could. It's a good combination. It keeps the weight low and centered on the frame, real easy to work with. And then of course there's the motor again, the Bosch center drive that we were looking at from the other side earlier. One of the other things that's neat about this bike in terms of ergonomics is that you've got this dropper seat post. This is a Crank Brothers Chronolog with remote drop. So if you come up here, you can see that little lever. And basically what that allows you to do is if you're climbing, you could press that and it kind of scoot up, and then you don't have to be standing. You can kind of like sit on the saddle but have it really high for climbing, and that's a nice relaxed position. And then when you get ready to do some off-road stuff, maybe you're going over some bumps, you're going to hit some real big drops, you can drop the seat post. You just sit on it and it goes down when you're pressing that lever, and now you can use your legs to kind of, you know, like soak up some of the bumps. It's really cool. And of course this sort of down cut, it's kind of a diamond frame, but you know they drop that top tube a little bit, so it's easier to stand over if you get thrown or something. Do be careful if you're standing over that seat post and you like click that dropper, it can come up and rack you which is no fun. So yeah, keep that in mind. Some final thoughts here. It's an aluminum 6061 frame, also aluminum handlebars up there, and then the cranks are the Hive X-Lite R forged aluminum, so just aluminum all around. The bike itself weighs about 49.2 pounds. I was weighing it earlier, and that's going to vary a little bit depending on frame size, but again, this one's kind of right in the middle, so just under 50 pounds. It's pretty sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the display system now. So this is the Bosch Intuvia display right here, and it's a really great setup. It's one of my favorites, in part because you can swivel it, see, like that, to reduce glare if you want to. You can actually take the console off completely. So if you were parking this outside and you didn't want it to get the extra sun or rain, or maybe you're trying to avoid vandalism, just very cool. It is backlit. Some of the other Bosch bikes that have lights built in, you can actually operate them from this display pad here. Of course, on this bike, you can use that and it turns on the backlighting, which is cool. Got a nice remote button pad, real easy to use while you're riding the bike. You don't have to really even look down. Once you get used to it, you can kind of click and you can change between the different levels of pedal assist. And then there's also a little USB port here on the side, which is neat. I've kind of skipped over that in the past, but it just feels like they've kind of got everything with the display. All you have to do once the battery's charged and mounted to the bike is press the power button, and it comes to life. And it's pretty intuitive right from the get-go. You've got your speed, you've got your battery level, and then you've got your different assist levels. I'm in off right now, but you can go to Eco and Tour, Sport, or Turbo. And of course, Turbo is going to drain the battery the fastest, but it's going to get you up to speed the fastest and be great for climbing. The top speed on this bike is 20 miles per hour, and you can pedal beyond that if you want to, but that's as high as the motor is going to assist you. The eye over here and right here, you can hit at either place. It just changes between the different displays. So we've got odometer, trip distance, clock, max speed, average speed, trip time, and range. And range is cool because depending on the level of assist you're in, it actually estimates how far you can go. So in Turbo, it's saying 22 miles. Down to Sport, it goes to 25. Tour, 30. And Eco, 58. I mean, that's incredible to me. It's really capable system just because it's so responsive and smooth, and you're required to pedal the whole time. So that is quite good. So I'm gonna go ahead and arrow up to Turbo. We'll climb this little hill here, no problem. Watch for the kind of the cadence as I'm going. When I stop pedaling, watch the motor. It's like immediate. And then you get up to 20 miles per hour and it pretty much just, slowly fades out. It's not one of those things where it feels real jerky or anything. Well, that's the Haibike XDURO AMT RX. Awesome bike. I've really enjoyed it. For the full write-up on this, including other high bikes and stuff, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com.